We're back. Baseballmapper boys, Patrick, Cory, you know us. Today we're going to talk a little bit about something that came up on the map, I'd say a couple weeks back, where we thought we had an error on our map, and lo and behold, we uncover a team that has quite an interesting story, and there is even a documentary out on Showtime called Bad Hombres.
Bad Hombres, yeah. So right on the border in Texas here, we're clicking through the map trying to QC things, right? We see the same team right here 2 times.
That can't be right. We can't have two teams that are in the same place.
So as it turns out, this is the only team in the world that plays in 2 different countries.
What an interesting fact, right? Tecolotes dos Laredos.
De los dos Laredos.
De los Tecolotes de los dos Laredos. What does that mean in Spanish?
That is owls of the 2 Laredos. So there's 2 Laredos. There's Laredo in Texas. There's Nuevo Laredo, New Laredo in Mexico. Mm-hmm. Split by the U.S.-Mexico border. So
right on the border.
Yeah. So they split their home games back and forth between the 2 stadiums. Really cool.
You are hard-pressed to find another team on the map that has something as unique as that. Right. And if you wanted to find out more information about them, well, fortunately, you could go to their website. You could translate it if you can't read it in Spanish.
That was the coolest thing. We just saw this at the top. The Google translation, owls of 2 Laredos.
Right.
Tecolotes is owls.
We'll take it. We'll take it.
So... But there was a Showtime documentary about this. That's what we ended up finding.
Bad Hombres.
Yeah, really cool. So we watched it. I made you watch it.
Right. So we wanted to provide, again, we are using the map as a resource. We come across something that's interesting, and we start hunting and finding out more. I imagine a lot of people would do the same thing. You start looking into a team a little bit more. You like their logo. You want to find out where they play. What major city are they by? Can you fit it in on the next road trip? Well, this one is going to take a little bit of work. But when we looked into Bad Hombres, this documentary was pretty cool. It had a lot. It had drama from the team. It had drama from basically 2 cities on the border of America and Mexico, and how the teams kind of navigate that. What were your thoughts about it?
Yeah, this came out last year, so 2020, and so it's going through Trump border wall time frame, right? So there's a lot of animosity between, the different factions that want or don't want the border wall, and then specifically the team who has to cross the border to go to games. They live on one side or the other. I got to cross.
And typically they're living in Mexico to save money. Yeah, to save money, live in Mexico. But Nuevo Laredo has a lot of crime. It's a little more dangerous. And in fact, that actually comes up quite a bit inside this documentary. You have moments where cartel lookouts are spotting these ball players who have documentary cameras and cameramen following them, and there's inquiring going on. What are you recording? What is it about? And so there's a real threat, not just of political issues, but a real threat of drug cartel issues. And these are just ball players. They're literally having to walk across the border to make their way to Laredo, Texas.
This is Triple A too. These are serious, professionals. This isn't just, like collegiate league or indie league. These are really talented individuals. So
still have a shot at Major League Ball.
Right. And that was, I think, one of the interesting things for me was that how they made it a point to say how winning is more important to them necessarily than development. So in this Mexican league, they're there. Most of the teams are in Mexico, and it's a source of pride to win there. Where on a minor league ball club in America, sometimes you pull a pitcher when the pitch count is hit, regardless of the outcome of the game. They're not doing that sort of thing. Here, so that was an interesting takeaway.
And there's also times where in normal minor league affiliated ball, if the big league club needs a player, they're pulling him off. Right. If he can't be in the postseason, who cares? And that might affect whether or not that team can win something. Right. That doesn't matter. Here, there's a lot of pride. There's a lot of pride, and you get the sense what's even cool about it is there's two hometowns. There's pride in both places. And what's interesting, too, is that Laredo, Texas, and Nuevo Laredo in Mexico, they've had a long-standing, solid relationship when U.S. and Mexico relations are good. But right now, our relations with Mexico aren't so good. And the players kind of feel that. It affects their travel situation. It affects their feelings of safety and security. And so it was an interesting story. We both feel, I know we talked about it off camera, we both feel like it'd be nice if there's a little more baseball story, perhaps, because there's plenty of drama in this between some of the players that are spotlighted, like the old veteran catcher who is maybe in his last season, and this is kind of his last shot in the Mexican League.
10 years.
Yeah.
Like, that was another thing, this is a career. Mm-hmm. You know, it's a career to be a Mexican League baseball player.
Providing for your family.
Right. And that's not necessarily the case in minor leagues. You know, you start getting to your mid-20s, and they're kicking you out.
Right.
I didn't get the impression that they do that here. But you still have prospects coming up.
Absolutely.
With a chance, you know. So there's that interesting mix of like literal, 30-plus-year-old veterans.
Right.
With teenagers,
Right. A kid who he's a substitute teacher in Bakersfield, California, but when time comes, he's got to leave the school and go and play and have his chance at glory in the Mexican League. So there's plenty of sports drama in this story, but it's an interesting one, especially because, one, you may not have ever heard of this team before. What's it called again?
Tecolotes de los Dos Laredos.
He's been practicing.
I am. Duolingo, buddy. Over a 300-day streak,
That's pretty good, man. Yeah. That is pretty good. Nice job. Nice little shout out to the app.
I really hope I'm saying that right.
I know. I hope you're saying it right, too. And also, you brought the Mexican lager today.
That's right.
So that we could properly talk about this documentary. Right. Worth a watch. I think we both agree. It's worth a watch. Definitely interesting. And it taught us a little something about a team that you might not have heard of, but now I think we both agree we want to go check it out.
I know. So we were talking about that, like, all right, how cool it would be to go for like a weekend and go to a game in America and a game in Mexico.
What opportunity can you do the same thing?
Right.
Nothing.
Except for the fact that, it's hard to get across the border these days.
Can't do that right now.
So literally these players will be walking across the border with their gear, a bag of gear, and taking hours to get through border, the border control stuff. But then, it's dangerous. It's dangerous over there with the drug cartels and all that kind of stuff. We're talking about, 70-something murders in a short amount of time there. Yep. So we're definitely not doing a night game.
Not a night game.
But God, it would be cool. I would really love to.
Not a ton of, looking at the map, not a ton of baseball in that area. But if you had the chance, if you were in Texas, how could you not want to check out something again? The only team in the world that plays its home games in two countries.
Right. And then even if you go to the Laredo home game, the PA announcer is in Spanish.
Yeah.
So that's a different experience than you would get anywhere else.
Right. The let's celebrate our U.S. Border Patrol Day. Totally different experience.
That was weird.
You would get. Yeah, exactly.
It's instead of flyovers, you've got Border Patrol on the field.
Right. It's a different lifestyle down there. But it opens your eyes to something that maybe you didn't know. And I think, hey, that's what we're trying to do with Baseballmapper. Bringing baseball to you, something you may never heard of. It's worth checking out. Bad Hombres on Showtime. We recommend it.